Hello, 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 hello. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mindset Monday. Today is a spectacular Monday, a Monday full of challenges, but a wonderful Monday. And it is the first Monday in August. We are in the eighth month. Yes, the eighth month of the year. I hope you had a spectacular weekend, and I hope July closed off with a successful month for you. And this month, we will continue on our Prepare for Your Wealth, and we are going to be looking at or expanding on our topic we were dealing with last week, retirement and healthcare proxy. We all know that life changes, seasons change. As we get older, of course, we were children before now. Some of us are parents. Some of us we have spouses. Some of us have grandchildren. So life grow in stages and phases and expand as the phases and stages and seasons of life continues. So we want to make sure that our wealth, our wealth mindset continues each phase of life we go through. And this afternoon, we're going to be looking at how we prepare for our wealth in respect to retirement, making sure that things on are in balance during our slowdown time or during our transition to different areas of life. As we get older, a lot of us, some of us, we were running different businesses, we were CEO of companies, but now we are tapering off, looking at doing other things, but retiring from those heavy lifting. And so we want to make sure that we have our ducks in the row before all of that takes place. So we will not be, you know, trouble to anyone or the challenges that a lot of people go through because of either lack of preparation or situation comes to just tear the planning that was put in place. Today, we have a wonderful lady who will continue with us with her expertise sharing on this topic. And it's none other than Jennifer Cantando. Hi, Jen. Happy to have you again.
Hi, Miriam. It's always a pleasure to have these Mindset Mondays with you. And I always thank you for inviting me. You're a breath of fresh air. And I think that your audience appreciates just the value that you bring to everybody. So I want to acknowledge you and appreciate you right now. So thank you so much for having me.
Such an honor to have you. And we know that because this topic is so valuable, we decided to continue because the questions that were coming in and the insights that you share with our viewers, they are just longing to hear some more and just to, tap into the what they are feeling, the things that they are uncertain about. And might I say, there are few of my guests who have reached out to me wanting to sit down one on one to just go through the finer details of how to and when and how to just tie up things and just to make sure that things are not unbalanced but in balance. So today, Jen, I'm not sure if you want to just share any little tidbits before I start asking the questions or our discussion because viewers, it's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. We are here sharing information, and we know a lot of you may also have information that you want to share with us. And as we expand and as we enlighten each other and just making sure that we are prepared, because an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. My mom taught me that many, many years ago.
Awesome. And I think the topic here is that we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. I think that's a good topic today. And you know, I love when we sit down and talk to each other and we have that dialogue, and then your audience gets to chime in, and then we can address questions that they might have, because you know, I think when it comes to retirement, when it comes to investment, when it comes to anything that sometimes we're not familiar with, or we think we're familiar with. It's always to get a good second opinion, another look on things, to make sure that you're doing it right. So that's what we're here for. And that's what we're making sure is that, are we on the right track? Are we doing things right? And hey, did I forget anything? Does it look good? You know, and sometimes it involves multiple professionals, right? Because professionals have their own expertise when it comes to taxes and different things. So sometimes it's a few people that you get to bounce ideas off of, and what you want and what you want your future to look like.
Very good. Now, I know in different areas, some words are interchangeable. Some words may be like this question I'm going to ask, Jen. The One of the first questions one of my viewers asked, when should I start planning for retirement?
That is a good question. That's a good question. And I think that we have to be aware of, the later that we plan on retiring, or the that we want to invest in retiring, the more it's going to cost. Time is of the essence. So when we're looking at what the wealth factor is, and when we're going to retire, you have to take in consideration that the longer time you have to save when we go into retirement, the more money you have to retire. So it depends on the number you're looking at too. If you were like me and came in later into the game and realized, oh, I need to play catch up, you might be putting more towards your retirement, right? So I think that's a good question. And I think that deserves a sit down with the individual to find out, how old are you? You know, what are you looking to save in retirement? One retirement from somebody doesn't look like the same as somebody else's, right? One might think, oh, that's a lot of money, and one might think that's not a lot of money. So, again, sitting down with a professional like myself or Miriam, and discussing what you want your retirement to look like. And you can start saving in your youth, you know. For my kids especially, I was like, you don't have to wait till you work for a job to start a retirement. There are plenty of things that are out there that you can sit down and start your projecting your retirement and what you want to withdraw on early on in your life. I think that is sometimes we're misled that the only way we can retire is with a 401k at my corporate job, and why I'm going to school and why I'm doing other things, I can't contribute to it. But that's just false. You can start as soon as you sit down with a professional and tell them what you want.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
As you rightly alluded, it's never too late and it's never too early to start for retirement. The sooner you begin, the better, because then you'll be able to identify, okay, then I need this, and based on inflation, what do I need to be putting in place? And as you we discussed last week, uh, deferring a lot of income, that mean tax deferred income, can mean a tax burden on the individual later down in life. So again, sitting down with your financial professional to identify where you are as an individual, because just as how we're unique in her personhood, we are also our situation is also unique where retirement is concerned. Some have huge family, some have maybe very few family members, some have health issues, others no. So it depends on the individual situation. Thank you so much, Jen.
Can I add Can I
Sure.
add to that, Miriam? There is a wealth formula that people can write down and take in consideration when they're looking at their retirement, or when they're ready to invest in putting money away for it. One is time. How much time is it going to take for you? You know, how many years before retirement? How long is that going to take you before you retire? So time is a factor. The second factor that you have is taxes. Are you paying, like you said it perfectly, Miriam? Are you going to defer everything to the end when you go to retire and pay those taxes at the end of retirement? So you have to take that in consideration.
Hmm.
The third thing I want you to take in consider is, like you said, inflation, right? What does inflation look like? What do you think it's going to be? Are you considering what inflation looks like in 10, 20, 30 years? And then, of course, your rate of return. What are you getting back on your money, right? What has it grown? What is the last, if you do a look back on it and you're looking at how much you've made in the past, definitely taking in the rate of return of what you're getting on your money. That is a big factor. So
Hmm.
those are some heavy hitters when it comes to looking at retirement and your wealth factor.
So if I may put it in an acronym, because that's somewhat how I learn. I don't know, viewers, if that's how you learned. So it's T for time, I for inflation, um, R for no
Rate of
T.
return. Rate of
Oh,
return.
R for rate of return. So TIR for rate of return, and then T again for taxes. So TIRT. TIRT. Time, inflation,
Rate
rate
of
of
return.
return, and taxes. TIRT. Okay. We got an acronym today. Okay. Um, this is also a follow-up question. Of course, you answered that. We just discussed that. It says, how much will I need to retire comfortable? Again, it depends on the individual. It depends on the individual situation, and it depends on all of the factors surrounding that individual. So it depends on the lifestyle, depends on the healthcare needs, and other personal factors. I know you spoke a little bit previous weeks about the the 80%, 80/20 rule. So 80% of your pre-retirement income, think about that. And if you want to just expand more on that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, we were talking about that, and we're also talking about distribution. And you should take anywhere from like 3 to 4% distribution on your retirement too, to keep it, to make sure that you have it there. Again, there are things out there that will make sure that you have money in retirement, so you do not deplete your retirement. That's why it's so important to also speak to a professional to decide, can I keep this money growing? Can I keep it also? Can I withdraw on it for the rest of my life if I wanted to? And will the money be there when I go to pull from it? Is an important factor too when you're looking at your retirement, right? And making sure that things are in place. Also, I think you have a comment too in your. I saw a comment come
Yes,
up.
I see that.
But yeah, absolutely. Exactly. 80/20 rule is very important.
At Dr. Derek is asking, deep dive globally changing life. He said, peace, blessings, and enough love, Queen Jen and Miriam. Can I retire at 40 or maybe 30, or do I have to wait till I am 65?
Oh, that is a great question. And for that answer, I would first see what you have, because some of the retirement accounts that you have out there or you can't take distribution until you're 59 and a half, right? There's that 59 and a half rule that prevents you from touching your own money until you are 59 and a half. Again, making sure you're seeking something. Sometimes I believe that, the corporations that have investments for you are great to take advantage of that. But I'm a firm believer on having something set independently too, so that you could take advantage of different investments that might be out there that you want to withdraw on beforehand, right? So it's so important that you make sure and you sit down with a professional if you want to retire at 30 or 40 years old, that you're sitting with somebody and making sure you're on track and how much you need to put into those accounts. And is there a 59 and a half rule that says I have to wait until I'm that age to withdraw my money? So that is a great question, Dr. Derek. That is so important when you're looking at it, is making sure, can I even touch my money? I think that's the biggest question. There's going to be a big gap between 40 and 59, and you're going to fall short on your retirement, and not have that money to retire on. So making sure that some of these rules and regulations on investments that you are properly aware of. Education is really important when you're looking at an investment, because you don't need to rush into something that you don't understand, or that it hasn't been made clear um, of what you want. When you're talking to somebody, if they're more concerned about selling you something than they are understanding where you're at and what you want to be, that's a big concern. That's a big red flag. Somebody that's sitting with you should be talking to you, asking you questions about, what do you want to retire, some of your dreams, some of your goals, and really take that time. A good portion of a conversation should be your professional, financial professional, asking you questions about yourself. If somebody is not asking the questions that you think are pretty important to your retirement, that is a red flag. That's very important, especially if you want to retire at 40 and everything your money is in is 59 and a half rule investment.
Very good. As you discussed that, one might ask, what is retirement? And in layman terms, or this is AI overview. Retirement is the act of permanently leaving the workforce, usually in a later year of life. It can also refer to semi-retirement, which involves reducing the work hours or workload of the job that you normally invest your time. Now, when we talk about retirement, in a lot of us minds is that we go home and we sit and we wait to die. Retirement is definitely not that, because what I find with some of my friends, their parents, they are scared of retiring because the idea of retirement scares them. So they are not looking to go home, because as soon as I retire, my friend who sit beside me in that cubicle, when she retired, within a month she died. So I'm not going to retire. So retirement is not a scary thing. Retirement, we are helping us to look at it in different ways that we can be ready to leave the workforce and still have a viable way of living, still have a enjoyable time when we leave the workforce. So retirement is not a bad thing. When we enter the job, think about it this way. We are investors, and most of us do not realize that when we go to a job, we invest our time to get the money to do our work, because when we work in our passion, we never retire. But retirement is actually leaving active employment when you're employed with someone else. That's what we're talking about. But when you retire from your job, you are still viable. You can, if you don't want to actively work, you can be a philanthropist. You can give your time take assisting others in teaching them your skills, and you will be so rewarded. So think about retirement as the next phase of life, that instead of trading time for dollars, you are trading your time, giving of your essence, and sharing what you have joyfully with others, just being a philanthropist. So we are helping you to put your ducks in the row so you are able to time to retire in USA. Retirement age, I think, is what, 65? Is 72 now? I think it's 72, somewhere there. Some place 65 or 67. We'll check that out. But whatever it is, I know in some Caribbean, it's 60 something, especially for some of the Caribbean islands. They actually ask them to give them a severance package, let them retire early so the younger workforce can come in, which sometimes it's really disheartening. But if you use these strategies and sit down with a financial advisor to assist you, if when that time comes, you will not feel displaced because you would have already have things in place to transition to the next phase of your life.
Wonderful. That is great. Yeah, absolutely wonderful, Miriam. And it's 67, so the age of retirement. If you're looking at Social Security, which we're not sure what social security is going to look like in the future or if it's going to be there, but if you're looking at that part of it, the Social Security part, otherwise anytime really after, if you have your investments, like I said, in something that's 59 and a half, then you won't get penalized if you start withdrawing that at that age. So after 59 and a half, if you're withdrawing on your own, pension or your own retirements accounts, 59 and a half. But like we said, we said, hey, even if you want to retire at 30 or 40, you can do that too.
Yeah.
So there's nobody tells you when can retire, but you should find out where your money is going and what is the penalties for the early withdrawal.
As you are on that, you alluded to Social Security. Some people might ask, what? How does Social Security works?
It's very simple. It's almost like the state pension. You've put money aside, you put money away, and at some point when you acquire enough, credits, you're able to retire. They're going to send you a check, and you can withdraw on that. So, but that is something that I always tell my clients should be like the cherry on top of your retirement. Nowadays, I think with savings, pensions, and investments, and I say that we're even seeing pensions going away. 401ks are not always available if you don't work 40 hours for some people. So the retirement in the industry, in a corporate job or out, just even out there in the workforce, is getting less and less. So I think more people, Miriam, are looking to financial professionals, like myself, like you, to structure something that is away from that industry and just a person, something personal. Social Security is it's getting lower and lower. As we age, I'm like, oh my gosh, is there? I don't think there's going to be anything left. So I always prepare. I prepare for if Social Security is not going to be there. If it's there, hey, cherry on top. But I always pretend that it's not going to be there because I just don't know what it's going to look like when I go to retire. I still have about 20 years to go, so I don't know what that's going to look like. So I do not like to, uh, what is the word I'm looking for? Really just Like I don't put all my eggs in one basket, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Diversification is always good when it comes to that in your money. So I never rely, that's what I was looking for, rely on the government to get that check. I would rather depend on myself. Then that's a personal preference. But I know some people are heavily relying on Social Security for them. So I will always give them the best advice that I can for them in their situation.
Very good. And just to add to what you say, because laws change,
Yes.
things can change, social security can change, because that has to do with a government package. So anything can change. So as Jen rightly said, um, diversifying your portfolio. So if social security is there, it's cherry on top. You say, oh, ah, you know, I have a little bit more than I thought I would have, but that should not be put in the mix of preparing for retirement. If it's there, we can access it, because, and to access the benefit, you need to have 40 credits, which is four
Yes.
credits for 10 years.
Yes. Absolutely.
So if it's there, we can access it when we reach that age, and we can benefit from that. But we are helping you, we are helping ourselves put all things in place. Of course, when we have a plan, it is easy to pivot when things go sideways. But without a plan, we are thrown in disarray when things go
Sure.
crazy. So
Absolutely.
we are helping ourselves in just putting things in place so we can stay balanced. The equilibrium can remain even when things go haywire.
I
Oh.
want to add to that too, Miriam. I see you looking over because you got another question for me. But before we start, I just want to let everyone know and our audience know that when it comes to Social Security and the taxation on Social Security, it's often reflected on the investment that you have. When I say that, it means that look at your investments. If they're tax deferred, most likely your Social Security is going to be taxable, right? Because whatever your investment looks like, if it's going to be a taxable investment when you go to retire, your Social Security then will be taxable. If you have a tax-free investment or you're withdrawing on a tax-free retirement, then your Social Security becomes tax-free. So it's like a reflection of the investment that you have. Something very important that your audience should also be aware of is looking at everything they have. Will I be taxed when I go to retire? So that's a really important question when you're withdrawing on Social Security is when will you be taxed? And that is to be determined by the individual and their investment.
Very good. Very good. So that's the reason why your financial professional should assist you in seeing how much of my money, how much of my income am I tax deferring. Then you have a hefty tax liability because it was not in proportion to the income. Awesome. Let me see what else they have. Uh, you alluded to, of course, you answered the question, the tax implication of different instruments that is tax deferred, like 401k and traditional IRA. The difference between that and Roth IRA, you already paid the taxes up front. So if you want to just expand on that a little bit, you can. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. The Roth is a totally different way of funding a retirement account because when you put Roth in front of your investment, it totally changes the funding. So when you're looking at a traditional IRA, a traditional 401k, you can put the money in tax free, but at the end, we know we need to pay the taxes, right? So it does the quite opposite when you put it into an IRA or a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k, is that the money is already paid in the beginning. You've already paid after tax money. You've already been taxed on that money. So then you're putting in an account to never be taxed again on it, right? You can either pay in the beginning, or you can pay in the end, or you can pay in the all the time, right? Which is like capital gain tax and all these other taxes, right? But you have that, that the really the choice is in your hands. But yeah, when it comes to that, you have two ways of funding that. So you can pay now, you can pay later, or you can pay always. I say those are the big factors in going on with that. And yes, those accounts will affect how you are taxed on your Social Security. So again, really important to know this information, and just be understand. The more you can't have too much information when you go into retirement, because I feel like once you learn one thing, there's something else to learn. You have to be in close proximity to your financial professional. You have to, really just set a goal and some dreams in place that you want to achieve, and make sure that there is nothing. um, I don't want, like, what's the best way to say it? I don't want anything coming in at the last minute that you didn't know about, because the more that you know and you're reading the fine print, or your financial professional is helping you read the fine print, then you understand what exactly you're looking at. I think that was the hardest thing when I came into the financial industry myself, was me learning about my what I had myself. And that took a lot of reading, it took a lot of understanding. It took sitting with mentors, and that's just being on my side. Just being, I mean, just being a client. But then as a professional, we know a lot of things, and we can offer that to your audience, to people that want to sit down with us. And you can never stop learning. Don't ever stop learning, because especially when it comes to your money and how it's taxed, how it's growing, how inflation's going to touch it and hit it. What's the rate of return on my income? We went over these earlier today, and I'll just reiterate them. But every little thing is going to affect your money. So it's your money. This is very important, to be very, very involved in your investments, how they grow, because this is how you want to retire. This is how you want to leave a legacy for your family. um, so
Awesome. And this was not one of the questions, but while you were talking, my mind just, because I have an active mind, and while you were talking about retirement, just to help us, we're setting things in place. So while we are working, once we have things organized, arranged, we can we have everything in different areas, and we can also enjoy some of that monies while we are working, because for people like me, I would love to go to Germany and drive on that autobahn highway. Now it takes a little money to go there, so instead of putting that on a credit card, because I have things in place, I've already set things in place. I can say, okay, that's my little vacation money. So it's not cutting into my retirement money. I'm not pulling things from my 401k, or prematurely taking the investment, so I have to pay a penalty. But I have something over there, so I can go on that excursion, driving that that top of the line Audi or whatever, to enjoy that little. It, it's just something out of the box. So don't wait, don't sit, hold your breath for retirement and say, when I retire, I'm going to do this. No, as the Bible talk about, remember, we're talking about mindset, the mindset of wealth, the mindset of health. We are putting things in place, so we are taking responsibility for our life. We are occupying, as the Bible says, occupy till I come. So we want to enjoy what God has provided for us, because might I remind us that He created everything before he made us. So that means he thought that he wants us to enjoy what he has put on earth. He created us as managers of the resources that we have. So once we manage those resources, we can pull from our little you know excursion money. We can pull from our little vacation money and say, Germany, here I come, or Thailand, here I come, or wherever. So don't hold your breath and say, no, I can't go anywhere because I have to hold this money. No, enjoy. The Bible said, occupy till I come. Occupy in being a philanthropist, also occupying, making sure that we are good steward of the body that he has given to us. We don't overrun our body, abuse our body in no way, shape, or form, but making sure that we are good steward of the time, talent, everything, and so we can assist humanity in whatever capacity God has created us to occupy.
I like what you said, and it's so true. Like how you said, pull out of my retirement and go do this excursion or go on this trip, or it's so true because I think that we look at it and we don't realize some of our investments we get penalized and taxed. And then at the end of the day, it's always better to have that money set aside that you saved instead of getting taxed and penalized on some of the money that you want to take out for that trip. And it's so important. I sat down with a client the other day and she wants to buy solar. And it was like, I want to take it out of my retirement. And so we did a pro and con list and we did like, okay, as far as breaking down even the money of what she's gaining and what and the money that's in there on compounding, right? She's got money in there. She's going to take a hit on that compounding interest in her investment. So it was like, okay, can we structure it different? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And she's like, it makes sense. So we were able to say, we can pay for the solar on a monthly basis and it would be the same. She would be paying back to her 401k,
Hmm.
so it's somebody that looks like on the opposite side going, hey, let's, look at some of these. And I love that you were talking about retirement too, is that, so many people are looking around at retirement when they retire and there is a good thing. Is it a bad thing? I remember when I worked for Frito-Lay at the time, I overheard some of the older gentlemen, and they were already talking about their next job. So they were retiring, but they were already talking about the next job they were gonna do, and I was like, "Oh, that's not retirement to me." But and you can tell it was something that they didn't want to do. It was something they had to do, and so I think that's really important. That if you want to go do something and you're going to enjoy it, and it's going to help occupy your time in retirement, I think that's a blessing. I
Hmm.
call that an absolute blessing. If you have to go back to work in retirement, whereas you're retiring from one company to go to another company because you have to still make money to retire, then we need to talk. We needed to plan it a little, structure something better than that. Or even myself, I say when you are a financial professional, if you came even into my field, right? Which is there is a shortage, by the way, and you say, hey, I know some things and I want to share it with people. And I think that's something I would really enjoy doing. We have a shortage in our industry that we need more financial professionals too. So I think it's always good to keep your options open when it comes to the second stream of income, whether you are just doing a side hustle or you are actually retiring, but you want to do something that's noble and something that you would love to take all that wonderful knowledge that you have and pass it on. Gray hair is good in the financial industry. You get well respected. It means wisdom.
And what Jenny's saying, what she does, you can do it anywhere. You can even be in Germany and do it while you are having a good time.
While you're going as fast as you can on that Autobahn, right? I didn't know that about you, Miriam. I didn't know you had that streak in you, but now I know you gave it away. So now I know there's a dangerous streak to Miriam.
Let me just see the comments in the chat. Dr. Benny, Dr. Smile, she says, greetings to all my queens and kings around the globe. All right, Dr. Benny. She also said, welcome, Queen Miriam and Queen Jennifer. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on financial wealth. Awesome, awesome, awesome. This is fun. So while you're preparing for retirement, you can also enjoy the ideals of vacationing without feeling stressed because you have little things in place. You may not have all of it, but because you have structured things, you can say, okay, if I don't have everything saved, I can, maybe put something on a credit card, but I know I have 3 weeks' salary, a portion of my salary to pay that off within that time before interest is accrued on that credit card. And talking about credit card, we must make sure that we are disciplined because credit card is not our money. But just to have a little buffer, say, okay, I have 3 weeks to pay this, so I can put that on the credit card and just pay that off within that short time. So you're not taxed too much with that interest on that credit card. Awesome. See, vacation, and vacation doesn't have to be in Germany or in Thailand or, in California, LA, or close to where Jen lives. Vacation can be somewhere near where in New York, there are so many nice places you can just jump on the Amtrak and you do sightseeing and then you just get off and just do little things. So wherever your pocket can reach, you don't have to, you know, put yourself in huge debt to enjoy your time while you are working. Right?
Oh, I love it. That's great sound advice. A staycation. I call it a staycation where you're not going too far, but you need to refresh, right?
That's
You
it.
need to fill up your cup. I think that
That's
we get, taxed so, like our job, the kids, everything like that. It's good to get away on a budget, Miriam. Sometimes we don't have that. And I think that's where people like maybe overspend is because they need a break so bad because they haven't done those little staycations, right? That they overspend, they overindulge, and they use that credit card. But, like Miriam says, there's things in our own backyard. Do the research. I know over here in California, I'm in Central California, there is Yosemite that's not very far. It's a couple hours away, right? And so making sure that you can make a trip for yourself, for the family, to go to places in your own backyard and enjoy the day, right? We were looking up spas and different things that they have that are in our basically in our backyard. There's wine vineyards too to go visit. I mean, just there's so many things to think about that you can really enjoy, but just do the research and you will really find that things are, pretty pretty reasonable and not so expensive, so you don't have to overindulge in your credit cards. We don't want that. We like the emergency fund and we like a savings account, right? So that you can set, because I think we work so hard, we want something in that savings account that says I can spend this, or this is something I'm big on my family, so I want to have that when we go somewhere. Or we talked about taking going to the beach and just have an Airbnb by the beach, and it's okay to ask the kids, chip in. Everybody chips in, and it's not such a big, it doesn't lay on one person, it's something that you can all enjoy and everybody helped out.
very good. Very good. And you don't have to wait on the holidays. But I know summer is so beautiful in different places. You can you can have a little road trip. You can do something that you can say, I enjoyed summer because I went this place. If it's even one day, do something that you can just take a deep breath and said, I enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we are looking at healthcare proxy. I know, Jen, that there's a different word in 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 our world for healthcare proxy, and you remind me of that word. That
Well, you know what? You were saying proxy, and then I understood exactly what you were getting to. And I think it was basically, now I lost the word, but yeah, we have a common one. It comes up, I'll tell you what it is. But yes, it's basically when you're incapacitated, that you are able to, somebody is able to make those decisions for you, that determine what what are going to affect you for the rest of your life, right? So
and
go ahead. Sorry.
and why is having a healthcare proxy so important?
and and I would love for you to add to this, but for as a guy, as a person, personally, I want my kids to know what my final wishes are, and making sure that the health care that I have, the health team that is working on me or with me, knows what I want too. Sometimes we can't communicate it. You don't want to get it to the place where you can't communicate your own wishes. You want your family members to know, this is what I want. Should it come to this, these are my final wishes. It is important that you let them know, this is what I want. And it could be anything. It could be it could be even um, as far as even giving your organs away, right? Giving them to a family that needs them. So, like, what do you want with your body, too, right? So, it's really important that everything is set so that your family knows what to do. Listen, if you're in a place where you you're in the hospital and the family doesn't know what to do, every little thing is going to help them in making decisions, and nobody wants to make the decisions and not know what you want. And this could be something, as it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have kids, you don't have to have this, you don't have to have that. I think that's everybody's concern. It's just, at the end of the day, what do you want? What do you want to see happen, and what do you want put in place so your family doesn't have to make these decisions that are so hard on them. When you're not around, or when you can't speak for yourself, every little direction is going to help the family in making sound decisions. You don't want your family to walk away going, I hope this is what she wanted. I don't know if this is what he wanted. I think that it leaves something for the family in themselves. Did I make the right decision? And now, if you put that responsibility on yourself and say, this is what I want, Miriam, this is what I want, my family to know and to have, then that changes how the confidence in them walking away, that they did what you wanted them to do. And sometimes what you want the family to do is different than what the family wants to do too. You have to take that in consideration.
That's so true. As you're on that, just to comment on what you were saying. It's so important that you say what you want. And I know for a lot of us, we make decisions and sometimes we forget what we have in place. Totally forget. So go back, retrace, jog your memory, see what you have put in place. Case in point, one of my colleague, her her parent gave this put down that she wants her body to be donated. No, this poor kid did not know that. So when her parent passed, the body now she was crying where it is written, it is documented that she wanted her body to be given for research. Now that is that can be traumatizing for family members because depends on our background, depends on our religion. We want to see the last remains of our loved ones. We want to come to a funeral service and pay our last respects and see that it is transitioned to the burial ground and everything. So when that happens, and really, how could that happen? Why didn't she say something? So every little bit of detail is very important, very important. If you're an organ donor, let your healthcare proxy knows, so they are not scared or get nervous to say, why are you chopping up my mother, my father, my sibling, whomever you are the proxy for. All of these things need to be documented, needs to be put in place. Also, for some of us, we are citizens of this country, but this is not where we were born. You have family members who want their remains to go back where they came from. That also needs to be in place in writing, so there is not a rift, because sometimes the the things are there but they're not in writing, so half is there's a split, there's a rift, there's a disconnect, because all of these things were not done. So please take care of all of that, so while we are living and enjoying life and going on our vacation or going on a staycation or doing whatever we need to do, the eventualities of life can happen. We can be taken out while we're enjoying life. So let's be very responsible. Just as how, as parents, we take care of our children, we make sure that when they're young, they are provided for, they're protected, they have after school program. We make sure if we're not at work, if we're at work, someone is there to pick them up when they become adults. We assist them in whatever way we can. When they transition with their own family, we assist them in that way, but we still maintain that responsibility. So if and when situation changes, we can have a more comfortable, because nothing is comfortable when things are off balance, but when plans are put in place, there's a little bit more comfort than before.
Well put. Well put. Absolutely. And it was health directives. Health directives is the word I was looking for. And all that can be put in a trust. And some of your actually some of your life insurance products will come with a will. I mean, not all of them, but there are some that are out there that will come with a will too, for those that they're like, well, it costs too much, or I'm really worried about it. You can actually have some things put in place where you have a life insurance policy along with a will with it, and health directives. So that is something too, that for the person that was like, well, I don't need a trust, or I don't think I need a, I don't have a lot, I just want my burial and the kids to know what I want. There's also that too. So definitely, there's more than enough things out there to sit down with somebody and really tell them, a financial professional, tell them what you're looking for, and what you're thinking, what your final wishes are, what your retirement should look like, questions about Social Security and everything like that too. And Miriam is excellent because she definitely is learning so much about the financial industry, and she already has the taxes behind her. So she really has a good bird's eye view on what somebody's retirement is really going to consist of. So I love the fact that we team up, because you have somebody that is an expert on taxes, and a financial professionals that can help. And when we come together, man, it's very powerful, because you have two ladies here that can really help you in any way we can. And we have big hearts, right? We're faith driven women with big hearts, and we want to help our community and prosper. Like, at the end of the day, we don't want anybody to suffer because they just didn't know. And if we can get financial education and in your hands, that's important. And if you love the content, if you love what we're talking about, or we gave you some nuggets, please let Miriam or myself know. And we actually have classes, financial educational classes, that we can turn you on to as well and learn what we're learning. That's why we can answer some of these questions for you today, is because 6 years ago I took a class that I'm forever grateful for. I'm still learning. I still have mentors. And if you want the same thing for yourself, please reach out and we can get that to you. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome. And for those of us who are still in the workforce and are have a lot of our workplaces have in the union uh, in the employee assistance program, you can also access a will. You can also access legal services for free. So take take that opportunity, use whatever you have so you can be a responsible person taking care of your family, leaving a legacy for your family, or know what you have. Because sometimes you may sit before a professional, yes, you need to pay, but you may have the basic information from your employer that can help you to make that decision. And then once you have those things in place, then you are more prepared to sit before a professional, and then you can say, okay, I would need this, or they can guide you even more. But take advantage of all of the information, all of the resources you have at hand, so you can make informed decisions. You can be responsible. You can occupy till God comes, and you can be good steward of all that He has given us. Amen, church.
Amen. Amen.
And any final statement, Jen? And then we just love on our viewers as they
Yeah,
close.
I think that we're all fortunate to have Miriam, and that she has definitely opened up this platform to have conversations that people sometimes have, but they don't always know where to ask, or they have these questions and they're afraid to ask. This is we're very transparent, and we open this up to anybody that has questions, and we want to get the answers to you, right? And if we don't know ourselves, we will find out for you. But I think it's so important, like I said, to sit down with somebody. I always say this, like when I went to buy my house, I sat down with somebody that could give me a roadmap how to get there. This in the same is, if you're talking about investments, retirement, life insurance, anything to do with that, you should sit down with a financial professional and have them help you with a map to your future, right? That it's like going to a destination. It's like me in California going to New York with no roadmap, not no GPS, not knowing how to get there. It's going to take me a lot longer to go visit Miriam than it would if I had a map or a GPS or something that could tell me how to get straight there. So that's what we wish for to you, is that you're able, that you have everything in place. And if there's any gaps in there that you're not sure of, that you reach out and ask, I want to make sure that my portfolio looks good, and if I'm on the right track, or if I'm missing anything, if you can help us, you help me or my family get to our destination. And that's what we want to do here, is get you to your destination as fast and quick as we can, so that there's no bumps in the road. And we want to eliminate those as much as we can, so that you can feel confident in your future, and you can feel confident in where you're going, right? And really passing this on, not only the legacy to your family, but the education to your family. Sometimes some of us came in with no financial education. We're the first in our family. I can be the one to tell you, I'm the first in my family to not only learn this, but to pass it on to my next generation. And now I have a grandson that I'm talking to him about it too. So this really important to, get it for yourself. And, and if you do have financial education in your family, wonderful. I challenge you to make sure that it's all up to date, accurate, and what could it hurt, right? So thank you. Be blessed. Have a great day, and multiply your fruit.
Awesome. So get the right roadmap, the GPS, God's perfect solution. Get it, and make sure that you are ready, that mind is there. So until next week, this is Miriam Edwards for another episode of Mindset Monday.